But let's move on into the next team we're looking at, and this is the fun one, guys, because I know this team had 2 picks in the first round. We will maybe talk about both of them, but I just want to talk about the first one.
Great move
to start it off. Was it a great move though for the Giants to take Daniel Jones at number 6, just right there? Was this the wrong move? Or I'll ask it this way, how I titled it on the YouTube channel. Did the Giants mess up by taking Daniel Jones at number 6?
Yes.
No.
Why?
Because he wants to be contrarian. That's the only reason.
It's 12:30. They took the successor to the throne to the Manning era. Like, that's exactly what it is. They're like, we went from having Eli Manning, who won us 2 Super Bowls, over a team that rightfully was better than them. And we want the guy who got raised by the same guy who raised the Mannings, has the same pedigree. He might not be a Manning, but he's the closest thing you can get to a Manning. I don't understand how anyone's confused by this pick for the Giants.
If we're ranking the Manning offspring, Peyton clearly number 1.
Yeah.
Great quarterback, hilarious, right?
He's pretty funny.
And very smart. Cooper, if he didn't have that career-ending injury in college, they always said he was the best athlete. So Cooper, I'd put at second because Cooper also hilarious. Yeah. And then I put Eli at third because I think he's the worst athlete. And Eli, while he can be,
take a great athlete to beat the Patriots in Super Bowls.
He can be funny, and sometimes he also had a great defense twice. Also got lucky, David Tyree and fucking Mario Manningham, get out of here. But what I will say, at least with Eli, I would probably say the worst athlete of the 3. They think he's the worst quarterback of the 3, or at least the worst NFL player.
He's not in great physical shape.
And I guess Cooper was the worst NFL player, but I'd still take Cooper power ranking-wise. And Eli, while he has shown flashes charismatic-wise, he also is a huge goof. There's so many opportunities where he just looks stupid out there.
Yeah.
And I would put Daniel Jones as the 4th. And I want to read 2 quotes out here. This is real, and this is from Nicole Auerbach. This is real, and a phenomenal quote from Duke coach David Cutcliffe tonight. Daniel Jones embraces something we believe in here. Real swag is no swag. So he just called his quarterback boring. So they just took a boring Manning, which we just clearly laid out does not exist from those Mannings that Peyton, Cooper, and Eli sometimes had the ability to be funny.
How much did you know that early on in Peyton's career that he was going to be a funny guy? You didn't until later in his career.
You didn't until he became a star. But once he became a star, he was clearly funny.
So give it a couple of years, and when we're looking at him, at Daniel Jones being a star.
No.
Then we're going to see the personality shine through.
This one's from @CharlesRobinson as well. Why did the #Giants draft Daniel Jones? Gettleman believes he has fiber and has endured tough circumstances at Duke and is an ideal #NFL starter with star potential. He also believes he's the best guy to make a smooth transition from Eli Manning to David Cutcliffe. David Cutcliffe really sold it. So, again, this is all about David Cutcliffe and knowing the Mannings. And that's apparently what Gettleman loves, although he didn't draft Eli Manning. Ernie, of course he did. So I don't know why the fuck Gettleman just loves Eli Manning.
The man's got 2 rings for the franchise.
But Gettleman wasn't there for the rings.
It doesn't matter. Rings are good. Franchise now has rings because of Eli Manning.
But Gettleman wasn't there for those rings. So I don't know why he has this attachment to Eli. And the other thing, too, is Daniel Jones, I wouldn't have picked him in the first round. And you went all the way to 6. You just did your in-division rival a favor in the Washington Redskins, letting Dwayne Haskins, who I think is probably the 2nd best or 3rd best quarterback in this class. It depends, because he has more production than Locke in college. But I like Locke at least traits better, because he's got a better arm. He's really fluid in the pocket.
Well, the thing about Haskins is he's only had 1 season as a starter.
But that season was incredible. So I look at it, and it's just like, you just took the 4th worst quarterback, and you had the option to take Sam Darnold last year. So you could have took Sam Darnold and Josh Allen this year, and now you're left with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley.
It's like we said on the live stream.
What the fuck?
That blew my mind is the tale of 2 teams in New York. You've got the Giants, who got Saquon and then Daniel Jones, or you could be the Jets, and you got Sam Darnold last year. Yeah, you had to trade up to get him, but Sam Darnold and Quinnen Williams.
Okay, but let's look at that as well. They had to trade up to get Sam Darnold, but they arguably got the number 1 prospect last year.
But they wouldn't have needed to if the Giants just would have taken him.
But true. But last year, going into that draft, and obviously Baker played phenomenally, and Sam Darnold was worse.
The number 1.
Most people throughout that whole year thought Sam Darnold was the number 1 player, so they got the number 1 player at 3. And then most people as well had Quinton Williams at number one, as number one prospect, and he fell to 3. So what were the Jets supposed to do? Not take the best player available? Like the Jets just did the smart thing, and the Giants were trying to be like smart and wacky. Like, we're gonna take a fucking running back when we clearly need a quarterback, second overall. And then we really like this Daniel Jones kid because he's a Manning guy, but he's clearly not the best prospect at this position, even available. So I don't understand what the Giants are doing, and the Jets still are an inept franchise. They just hired Adam Gase, so I really don't want to give them credit. I think they just lucked into good picks.
The thing I don't get about this is, so weeks ago, Mark and I did a segment on the Onside Kick where we talked about is Daniel Jones a good pick for the Giants at 17? We were talking about him at the 17th pick. And they took him at 6.
If he's your guy, you take your guy. It's that easy.
No.
And don't overthink the situation.
And no. And that's why it's like, would I have personally taken Daniel Jones? No. But I am not saying this was a bonehead move because they took Daniel Jones. I'm saying it's a bonehead move because they took him at 6. And, of course, hindsight's always 20/20.
Would you take Tom Brady in the first round?
Yes, but we don't know if this guy's going to be Tom Brady. And I don't think he's going to be. I think that Daniel Jones has a better chance of being Paxton Lynch than Tom Brady.
But if Daniel Jones goes on to be a starter for 4 years in the NFL.
That's a very wide gap that you just painted. The greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
And Paxton
Lynch. That's what I'm saying. I think he's closer to being Paxton Lynch.
But if he starts for like 4 years, and at that point, you're like, yeah, I could see the 6th overall pick being a starter in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine.
And I get that. And this is the whole thing of like, we won't know how these guys pan out for years. But this is a reaction. This is a reaction to tonight and to what we saw.
Yeah.
What I would have liked to see from the Giants, because I'll be honest, and of course we saw it play out. The Bengals not going quarterback. The Broncos did what they told us earlier in the week of, hey, we're not going to go with a quarterback. We're looking at Bush or tight end. It looks like they were telling the truth. And then the Redskins, at that point, they would have had Haskins, Locke, and Daniel Jones on the line. Mm-hmm. They would have went with Haskins because they proved it by taking him over Drew Lock.
Totally.
I think the Giants could have, instead of going Daniel Jones at 6 and Dexter Lawrence at 17, flip it. Go Ed Oliver at 6. You get, to me, a better defensive tackle. I know there's the questions that we all asked with Ed Oliver, but I think Ed Oliver will be better than Dexter Lawrence. So you can take Ed Oliver at 6.
I think Dexter Lawrence had top 10 talent still.
And still get Daniel Jones at 17 if you want him, even though I wouldn't have taken him there.
Yeah, you were big on Lawrence.
I was going to say, I think Lawrence, honestly, is probably dead even, if not a better player than Ed Oliver.
No, I don't disagree with that.
I don't think they're that far apart. That's my opinion.
And the rebuttal I would have...
My opinion can't be wrong because it's an opinion, so suck it.
That's true, but at least my opinion differs. And I think the reason... I think the biggest thing that sticks out to me is, Ed Oliver was a one-man wrecking machine at Houston.
Absolutely.
Where Lawrence had 3 fucking first-round prospects playing next to him. Yeah. So I think that Ed Oliver also showed, he's a better athlete than Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah, no doubt.
Production sides with Lawrence because Ed Oliver was a declining player, had a great freshman year and then kind of declined from the years on. But I think personally I would still go Ed Oliver. But Lawrence does have the size over Ed Oliver, his prototypical NFL size. So.
Exactly. So that's tomato in my mind. But I still go back to the if you know that you're going to go with Daniel Jones and you look at the gap between 6 and 17, you're like, there's a team in there who there's a 5% chance they could take him. No, I'm just going to take my guy. If you believe in your guy, that's the answer.
The thing that I would rebut with that, and because I was always on that side.
Yeah.
I was always on the side of get your guy because I think that was my way of talking myself into the Mitch Trubisky pick.
Eat the blame when people are all overacting like you guys are doing right now.
Yeah.
And in 3 years, you can just smile and be like, yeah, so it worked out okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's all the Giants have to do at this point is just continue to develop players and give him an opportunity to grow, because if they don't and they screw up with Eli Manning yet again, then shit fan.
But I think I said this after the Bears took Mitch. I was happy they got their guy, and I have faith that they got their guy, and I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
I didn't love Trubisky because he had that 1 year in college, and he put up great numbers, but was 1 year enough for him to be great? And I think we clearly saw, Mitch has been fine. He had a really good year last year, or at least an improving year, which is a good sign. But
absolutely.
If we're looking back, there's no way for redrafting. There's no way the Bears are taking Mitch Trubisky over Pat Mahomes or over Deshaun Watson.
Well, that's
so
the question.
That's the thing is like, do we trust Dave Gettleman as a scout to really find the next quarterback for the Giants? And I don't think we can. And I don't think that if we're looking at the situation he was in last year, he had the ability to take Sam Darnold, he had the ability to take Josh Allen, he had the ability to take Josh Rosen, he had the ability to take Lamar Jackson. He passed up that opportunity for Saquon Barkley for a position that I'm saying isn't worth a first-round value. And then you also look at this year, and I feel like he passed up two better quarterbacks in Drew Lock and Dwayne Haskins. So I don't know if he's the right guy. So I'm really not questioning the prospect because, hey, maybe Daniel Jones pans out in New York. But
I think system fit goes into it more than almost anything, though. It's like quarterbacks' success is so dependent on their offensive coordinator and offensive system because if they don't match that, you're not going to see that productivity. So like you're saying that Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, absolutely, like they've both played fantastically in the NFL for their respective teams. If they went to the Bears team that we had 2 years ago, I don't think either one of those guys is anywhere close to what we expect them or what we've seen from them today.
That's true, but then look who the Bears hired. The guy who comes from Andy Reid's system, so Pat Mahomes would have been fine in that system. Maybe it would have taken a year, and maybe he would have been great right away because he didn't have that year to learn under Alex Smith, and clearly that helped a lot. But now we're just looking at the actual talent of Mahomes, and I think that on paper
he's flat out more talented.
Trubisky, he's more talented. So
he does. He does incredible shit. Is he?
He's insane.
He's a wizard.
Well, and the thing I'm thinking is, you guys say like the thing where you said about Nagy, I was thinking Pat Shurmur is their head coach. And the thing when you look at Daniel Jones and what he wasn't good with deep throws. He wasn't good with going through his progressions.
That's why they got rid of Odell already.
He's more of a game manager than the franchise at quarterback. And it's funny, even on the NFL.com profile, at the very end they say he's more of a day 2 draft pick than a day 1. So to me, we were talking about the Raiders and their reach. This was the ultimate reach for the Giants. And I get the part of go get your guy, but I believe, and Gettleman might not have, and I'm not Gettleman, I'm Ricky Widmer, but I believe Daniel Jones would have been there at 17. Like, he would have been there at 17. Hell, he would have even been there at 30 when you drafted DeAndre Baker. So you could have traded in to get Daniel Jones then also, in my mind.
And the big thing that I just look at, you brought up fit, right, for Daniel Jones. And clearly we were talking about the connection he has with the Mannings. But what connection does Pat Shurmur have with the Mannings besides he's currently coaching Eli? He doesn't really have much. He was in St. Louis, he was in Philadelphia, and he was in Minnesota. No real connection with the Mannings. But the quarterbacks he had most success with, Nick Foles, Case Keenum, and Sam Bradford. And, a guy that is very similar to Sam Bradford
more game managers.
and had similar, at least, production to Sam Bradford was Dwayne Haskins. I mean, Sam Bradford was a guy who usually picked apart defenses by going short and going over the middle. Dwayne Haskins did that a ton at Ohio State. So all those guys outside of Case are really not mobile guys. Foles shows flashes of it a little bit, but the most comparable player that Haskins is Bradford, and obviously doesn't have the injury concerns that Bradford has. So I just think that Haskins would have even been a better pick just because of the actual system fit with Pat Shurmur.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that Haskins did fall as far as he did to the Redskins, but I don't know what it was, but it's those interviews, man. It's when you get that one-on-one time with the coaching staff working on the blackboard or the whiteboard, whatever chalkboard they're choosing these days. Yeah. Like, it just sometimes turns into personality. If you hit a riff with somebody, if you say the right things, like it is a personal choice, I feel. There's arm talent where it's just clear like Kyler Murray is special and everyone can acknowledge that. But I truly think that second tier of quarterback between Haskins, Daniel Jones, and
Drew Lock,
they've all got something they're good at. And it's like, do we see ourselves going with Drew Lock and his excellent arm talent? Do we see it with Haskins, his mobility, his precision short throws, or do we see ourselves with Daniel Jones and the potential what he could grow into? And yes, there's some things you don't love about his game, but I'd love to see what he can do against an actual NFL defense with some weapons out there, with that balanced running attack of Saquon Barkley, because it's not on his arm. It's on the fact that how well can you balance your offense using an absolute superstar at running back. And I know you said he's not a first-round value. Running backs are hard to justify, but he came in the league and he was one of the top 5 running backs in the NFL day one. I mean, it was incredible. So I think that they kind of know that their plan is to those two paired together is the future.
Well, the thing, I don't want, and I said this in the last segment, and I kind of misquoted myself. Saquon was worth a first-round pick.
Yeah.
He was worth a top 10 pick, without a doubt. And again, looking at what he did last year,
It was disgusting.
it was nasty.
Yeah.
But I just look at it now, and it's like, well, would I rather have, let's say, Josh Allen, who just won a pick later, and Sam Darnold, or would you rather have Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley? I'd rather have Sam Darnold and Josh Allen, or even T.J. Hockenson and Sam Darnold. Like that would have been a fun, mixture.
Yeah.
Although they already have Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
I just think that would have been more exciting to me because Saquon, while he is crazy, what was the last team to get to the Super Bowl based off of one sole running back?
You argued Gurley a little bit, but I'll let that go.
Who's that?
I would argue Gurley a little bit, but he honestly was disappointing in the playoffs.
Yeah, the argument would be
injury.
the NFC Championship game and then the game against Dallas.
Well,
C.J. Anderson was the star.
Was he hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah, but even then, they didn't get far because in the playoffs because of Gurley. Obviously, in the regular season, he was MVP caliber. But I guess what I would just say is just like
how much percent can you attribute to that one role? And I think that
Daniel Jones might be smart, but Ryan Fitzpatrick's also smart. Like it doesn't like just because you have that intelligence, going to Duke
Fitzpatrick
might not be huge. I still think that what's it called? Dwayne Haskins is still a smart quarterback. He knows where to throw the ball. He knows how to lead receivers. He knows how to work inside of offense. He knows how to read his progressions as well. Where Daniel Jones, he might do that as well, but I don't think he's quick enough processing those, and I don't think he's quick enough delivering the ball, and I don't think he's got the talent to be that next level guy. So I think he compares probably the most to Foles, at least out of the quarterbacks that Shermer's had success with, Foles, Case, and Bradford. But I think Haskins is the best version of any of those guys. I think, and even Foles was a fourth round, third round pick. Case Keenum was seventh round, I think, sixth round. And Bradford obviously was number one and probably would have panned out if he wasn't injured. All the time.
Every 5 fucking minutes.
But still, I think that Haskins should have been the pick there at 6, and you just gave him to the Washington Redskins at 15 without even moving up.
Well, and it's funny because I know that, and I'm going to say this again because I know Dave said every guy is different. Gettleman's big board different than ours, but like I look at the mock drafts that Mark and I had ever since 4.0 because that's when they had the dual pick of 6 and 17. When you look at just the 6th pick, Mark and I for the 4.0 both had Dwayne Haskins. For the 5.0, both had Dwayne Haskins. For the 6.0, I had Drew Lock. Mark had Dwayne Haskins, and we both had the last one at 17 defensive tackle. So I guess you can say we're right on the head that they were going to take a defensive tackle at 17. With me, this is the kind of pick where if you're Gettleman, you gotta hope he pans out. If Daniel Jones does not pan out, this is the kind of pick that it's not like refresh my memory. Kevin White was the first draft class for Ryan Pace, right?
Yes.
Like, this is not like a Kevin White draft pick for Ryan Pace where it's like, all right, was it a bit of a reach because of injuries and how he was never on the field? Yeah, but we're not going to hold it against you because you've had good draft classes since, and plus Kevin White's a wide receiver. He's not a quarterback. Daniel Jones is a quarterback. If you do not hit here, and he ends up being what I think, more of a Brock the Cock, more of a Paxton Lynch type of player where he doesn't pan out. Because he's a quarterback, if he does not hit, this could be something where ownership goes, yeah, you're not the right guy for this job, and you lose your job because of it. That's why, to me, I think number 6 was way too high for Daniel Jones. They could have got him at 17, even if they wanted to have him in the first round. And at 17, it might have been a little bit easier to swallow than taking him at number 6.
Well, and I think just too, I mean, not only is the Daniel Jones pick bad, and possibly looking back and overdrafting Saquon, and again, he's an immense talent. It's just like, even though he's an immense talent and he was probably worth the 2nd overall pick just based on talent, is he going to lead you to that championship? I don't think Saquon can do that as a running back. I don't think any running back can.
Unless they start playing Wildcat.
Wildcat, which I would fucking love to see.
Bring that shit back.
I'll pay money to see Saquon Barkley. That guy's electric. But you look at just even outside of the draft, letting Landon Collins walk for nothing, and then getting a worse version of Landon Collins in the Odell Beckham Jr. trade in Jabril Peppers, and then signing OBJ to an extension, and then trading him just 1 year later. I just do not get it.
There's a lot of questions.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
So, and I think Gettleman, right now, he might not be fighting for his job, but I think the Giants are just taking a step backwards when they obviously need to be taking step forwards when you're picking this high in back-to-back years.
2 questions to end this. Number 1, is Daniel Jones going to be the next Josh Rosen? Or are the Giants going to be one of the worst teams and they take Tua number 1, even though they took Daniel Jones number 6? That's number 1 that just crossed my head. Because they're not going to be a good team in my mind.
No, because Eli. I don't think Eli is going to be as bad as Sam Bradford was last year to bench him. I think Gettleman loves him too much to bench him again. And that was obviously not Gettleman's call back in 2016 when they benched him for E.J. Manuel, or 2017 when they benched him for E.J. Manuel.
Yeah. That was the head coaches.
Yeah, that was good old creepy Ben McAdoo.
Yep.
I think it was also the GM's choice as well. I don't who are the previous GM. But I think at the end of the day, wait, what was the question?
Do you think that Daniel Jones will be?
Oh no, because I don't think he's going to get enough starts. So I think they're still going to believe that they have Daniel Jones, and they'll probably look back to trade.
Okay.
And I also don't think they're going to be that bad. Saquon's worth 3 wins, and I think that. They might be that bad.
Yeah, let's say Eli Manning.
I don't know.
Has like his
no
good games,
doubt.
and he's
The
got
Dolphins
his pick games.
suck.
Hey,
So.
Dick Patrick could win you 4 games.
He honestly could.
They're also playing the Redskins.
The beard itself.
So I mean, the Redskins are interesting, but
And the Cowboys.
they
and
have
the
war.
Eagles.
They're built on.
That could
They're
be
built
6
on
losses right there.
I think they might be built on a Native American burial ground because they have the worst luck in the world.
Yeah.
And they have so many injuries. Everything really just backfires on them. So I think that they could probably sneak out a couple wins against the Redskins, and I don't know if it. I don't think he's going to get Josh Rosen. Just I'll keep it that simple.
What do you think?
I think it's pretty much all summed up in one legendary quote from a great movie. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
It's exactly what it is. The last question I will ask, though, is what do you think the prediction for Daniel Jones will be? I'll go first, kind of to give the barometer. I think that he doesn't play this year. He plays his second year in the league. They do so bad, they're at the top of the draft in 2021, and Trevor Lawrence will be a New York Giant. That's what I think will happen. And then Daniel Jones will not be a Giant. Trevor Lawrence will be the future going forward.
Can you do me a favor? When did the Vikings draft Christian Ponder?
That was 2010, I want to say.
Okay.
Because that was the Colt McCoy draft.
All right.
That was the
Great
Jake
football
Locker, Colt McCoy draft.
That was 2011 then. Because Cam Newton and Locker went in the same draft.
Yeah, because I wanted Colt McCoy in that draft,
Okay.
and then we drafted Christian.
So then,
great
when did
name.
Teddy go? 2014.
That's 2 years.
Yes, because we traded up to get
4
him.
years.
Okay. So that was about 3 years for Ponder.
Let's see, 2011 was Ponder.
Yeah.
Then I want to say, because 2013 was not, that was...
Basically, what I'm thinking is I think he's going to just be Christian Ponder. So
Okay.
maybe not Trevor Lawrence in 2 years. Maybe the guy who's coming out in 2022.
Yeah, Teddy was 2014.
Yeah, so maybe 2022. I think he's very similar to Christian Ponder. I don't think he has anything to be an NFL quarterback.
What do you think?
I'm going probably like a 7-time Pro Bowler. Maybe he gets a ring. I think he is one of the few guys who can put up like a 50
Tired
touchdown
Dave was the
season
worst Dave.
with like maybe. And I'm trying to be nice about it. Maybe only like 7 picks to 50 touchdowns.
Tired Dave is the
Bold
worst
strategy,
Dave.
Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for you.
But this is where Giant fans, you guys are going to come in, and our fans, let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. You like the picks, don't like the picks, good move, bad move. What are you thinking about Daniel Jones down below in the comment section?
Is he a 7-time Pro Bowler?
Is he a 7-time Pro Bowler? Let us know. And
Is he Christian Ponder?
Is he Christian
Which is
Ponder?
the opposite of 7 times.
It's the very opposite of 7-time Pro Bowler.